So what about a RAM and ROM? Okay. Then what is the difference between RAM and ROM? First of all, RAM and ROM are a primary memories. RAM and ROM are a primary memories. RAM, random access memory. ROM, read-only memory. Okay. In system, we have primary memory, secondary memory. Primary memory are RAM and ROM. Okay. Secondary memory is hard disk, CD-RAM, floppy disk, pen drives. These are all comes under secondary memories. To boot a system, you press the power button and then system has to be start. Compulsory primary memories are important. Okay. Without a primary memory, system won't work. So next to the CPU, the primary memory is RAM and ROM, guys. Random access memory, read-only memory. RAM is a temporary memory. It store data temporarily. Temporary memory means it stores data into the RAM temporarily. ROM, read-only memory, it contains a memory permanently. The ROM data cannot be changeable. RAM is a volatile. ROM is a volatile memory type. RAM is an example for volatile memory. ROM is an example for a non-volatile memory. Okay. Volatile memory means whenever the power is off, means you turn off your system or power cut or any kind of stuff, no power supply to the memory device, the data is lost automatically. The power supply down, shut down, turn off, any conditions of data is gone from the device called a volatile memory type device it is. Even you turn off a device or you turn off power supply, okay, power off condition, data can be remains in the device. That type of device is called a non-volatile memory type devices. Non-volatile memory. Example, hard disk, CD-RAM, pen drives, SD cards. These are all comes under non-volatile memories only. So RAM is a volatile memory and ROM is a non-volatile memory. RAM can be changeable, guys. We can remove the RAM, we can add new RAM in it, we can replace the RAM, we can add additional RAM to in our PCs. Coming to the ROM, it is a fixed chip on motherboard. Like a RAM, we can't change ROM whenever we want it, wherever we want it, kind of stuff. So this is the difference between RAM and ROM. Random access memory, read-only memory. Temporary memory, it stores data temporarily. ROM contains data permanently. So it's a RAM is a kind of volatile memory, ROM is a non-volatile memory device. Volatile memory means whenever the power is off, data is lost. Non-volatile memory means even a power is off, data is remains in the device. Okay. We can change the RAM, we can add the RAM, we can replace the RAM. We can ROM is fixed on your motherboard. Guys, understand difference between RAM and ROM?
Yes, sir.
Random access memory is also called as a main memory. Random access memory is also called as a main memory. Okay. Main memory. So when you see a main memory, primary memories are RAM and ROM. But main memory means RAM only. Okay. So primary storage for CPU. Store data instructions temporarily. Okay. It is a volatile memory. It required power to store the data. Power is off, data loss. In RAM, we have a static RAM, dynamic RAM, read-only RAM kind of stuff. Okay, sorry, different type of RAM settings are there, so we'll see that kind of stuff. Okay. RAM, static RAM, and dynamic RAMs are there. Static RAM is built based on a pure form of transistors, means MOSFETs. So it is a static RAM. It is very high speed as compared to dynamic RAM. This static RAM is we don't use as a regular RAM. It is a cache memory which built inside of CPU. Inside a CPU we have a cache memory. CPU, if you take a CPU, in the CPU there is a cache memory. These cache memories are three levels: L1, L2, L3. So L1 is near to the main CPU, then on the L2, L1, L2 is there, on L2, L3 is there. Okay. So three levels of cache memories are there. So cache memory inside there's an instruction cache and a data cache is there. Okay. So this is our CPU. CPU contains main unit is ALU, ALU, arithmetic and logical unit, control unit. Okay. So what will happen is, guys, look at here. This is a RAM. RAM load instructions from our IO devices and it load the instructions to cache memory to CPU, and CPU to cache memory, and then go to RAM to your IO devices. There is a IO controller actually connects to the our input output devices like a keyboard, mouse, monitor, printer, okay, graphics card or anything, okay, all hard disk, CD-ROM, everything is data is sending and receiving through IO controller only. IO controller give a data to RAM to CPU, CPU to RAM to IO controller. This is how it is happens, guys. And this cache memory is built inside of CPU, which helps to process the instructions and data faster to the CPU. So cache memory increases, system performance increases. Dynamic memory. Dynamic memory. So dynamic RAM, not it is a dynamic RAM. Sorry, it's a dynamic RAM, not dynamic memory. Dynamic RAM. Static RAM, dynamic RAM. Dynamic RAM is also called as DRAM, ECC RAM, EDO RAM, VRAM, different type of dynamic RAMs are came. But our DRAM is further developed into SDRAM, synchronous dynamic RAM. This synchronous dynamic RAM further developed into DDR, double data rate synchronous dynamic RAM. DDR2, DDR3, DDR4, DDR5. This is the last one. Okay. So DDR5 is a recent one using for a certain generations. Means mainly 12th generation, some models in i3, i5, i7, they are using DDR5 model. Most of the system currently DDR4. 1 second, guys. Be online. Okay. 1 second. Okay. Next one is, guys. So every RAM. So we are using DRAM type means DDR RAMs only we are using. When you say about your RAM, you have to tell about speed and size. Important in the RAM is size of the RAM. I am having 8 GB RAM, 16 GB RAM, 32 GB RAM. The bigger the RAM, so the better the performance of system. CPU speed, CPU cache memory, and RAM sizes defines your system performance. Okay, so you need a heavy capacity system. Then, of course, these three factors are important. And next one is RAM speed. Every RAM has a specific clock speed, and it should be synchronized with your speed. Okay, so like your processor front side bus and RAM speed must be compatible. So RAM to the processor or processor to RAM compatibility is important. Motherboard to RAM compatibility is also important. Okay. So different RAM speeds are there 1333 megahertz, 1600 megahertz, 2100 megahertz, 2400 megahertz, 2666 megahertz, to like that's like a 3400 megahertz, 4200 megahertz. So different type of frequencies also there depends upon your processor. Okay, you have to choose our RAM, which speed, which model we have to use it, and different voltage levels also important in it. So guys, if in case you want to replace a RAM, you want to remove the RAM or replace the RAM, or you want the additional RAM. My old laptop having a 4 GB RAM, then added as 8 GB to it. So then it is a 16 GB RAM. Sorry, 12 GB RAM, 4 plus 8. So how it is become 4 plus 8? Because already in one slot, it is already one RAM is there. I added another RAM, 8 GB RAM. Now it is 12 GB RAM. But before I am adding it, I have to do few things. I have to check the compatibility between these RAM models. Size compatibility, speed compatibility, memory types depends upon CPU. I have to decide, and depends upon motherboard. I have to decide number of slots on a motherboard and memory types defined by motherboard, and the size of the RAM and speed of the RAM, and what is the memory type. Also, you should check with the CPU, and also check the voltage levels. RAM voltage levels also affect you guys. L type, H type is there. Low voltage, high voltage kind of stuff. Better to see your old RAM if in case you have a old RAM. Okay, that is I don't know. So we'll check it that RAM and LP DDR RAM. So we'll check it. So matches to the old RAM is very easy. Frequency matches, and better to check with your old RAM and the new RAM kind of stuff. Okay. Different RAM packages are there, guys. Out of all these packages, first one is dual inline memory module type, usually used for a desktop. So this is the desktop motherboard, and this is the desktop related RAM only. So you can see it is a bigger one, desktop RAM. Small inline memory module, memory module. Sorry, small outline, DIMM packages. Means dual inline memory module only, but SODIMM package it is. So DIMM packages for desktop purpose, SODIMM packages, smart outline DIMM packages for laptop and mini PCs. So this is the how it is look like a SODIMM package. SODIMM for a mini. Like you have a laptop, you have to go to SODIMM package. You have a desktop, DIMM package. Okay, desktop RAMs are larger, and laptop RAMs are smaller. Each RAM has certain pin configuration, guys. That's why pin configurations, notch kind of stuff is there. That's why compulsory you have to check with your motherboard specification what RAM and what model of RAM it is there. Okay, guys, understand up to here about your RAM?
Yes, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, what is the difference between DDR and LP DDR RAM? Like, if I go to
Yeah,
buy,
it is saying low power double data rate. It is consumes less power, low power RAM, DDR. Mobile DDR is also called as a low power DDR. Offers identical memory storage arrays as in the standard DDR DRAM. LP have several additional features for achieving low power, which key requirement for a mobile applications, including tablets, mobile phone, automotive applications, and SSD cards. Okay, it's usually like a chip type only, not as our RAMs. Okay, it can be built inside your mobile phone tablets. Right. LP. Okay, so next one, guys, it is about a RAM related issues. Issue means, so if in case, if RAM is not working properly, if RAM is not working properly, or maybe RAM is not connected properly, RAM failure, RAM not inserted. So what will happen? What will happen? So post error you will get it. What is this post? You press the power button. So there is a power button. You press the power button. Whenever you press the power button, hmm, so power supply will be start, right? So power supply go to your system. Then system checks itself to make sure the primary components like CPU, RAM, BIOS, your motherboard on motherboard components are working or not. And it collects the system data. System means device data also. Okay. So it perform post operation, power on self test. So it is check all the, make sure it is all primary devices like CPU, RAM, motherboard, on motherboard components working on that. Everything is good, then post is successful. It go to the next step of a boot process. If something is goes wrong, then it is a post failure. It is a go for a troubleshooting. It goes for a troubleshooting. So what is the troubleshooting? So what is the troubleshooting? You press the power button and nothing on your monitor. On monitor is your completely blank screen. Continuous beeps you may hear or no beep sounds. Your keyboard LED is blinks only once. What is better, RAM or SSD insert in a laptop? Guys, SSD is a storage, like instead of hard disk, you can use SSD. We can't use SSD as a RAM. SSD is a storage purpose. So earlier we are using hard disk, still we are using hard disk type. Now we are using SSDs. Good. Okay. So RAMs are
okay, sir.
memory. It's a volatile memory kind of. So store data, it give process it, give it to RAM, RAM to IO controllers. Okay. It won't be between two things. Okay. Not permanent store. SSD store data permanently, even with or without power. Okay. That's the difference. So no keyboard LED blinking, nothing on screen, continuous beep sounds you are hearing. It may have a post error. In a post error, guys, it is related to either CPU problem or RAM problem, motherboard problem. Most of the cases, we are blame on the RAM only. So in generally, normal desktop, we move from one place to another place. So that time RAM lose connections, RAM failures, dust on your RAM slots are is there. Disconnect a power card connections. What we will do it if in case of you got a post error and you want to check the RAM or any other components, compulsory you have to disconnect the power card, open the cabinet, remove the RAM, clean the RAM with eraser with edges. Okay, and clean the RAM slots also using a simple blower. Do not use vacuum cleaners, guys. Use simple blower, and don't use air dryer also. Some people say use air dryer. Don't use air dryer, guys. Air dryer will generate a hot air, not cool air. Okay, so use eraser to clean the RAM edges and remove these dust using simple hand blower. So clean up the RAM and connect it and test it. If it is working, good. Otherwise, cross verify with other system or other RAMs. Okay. So I have written one diagram here, that is, this is CPU, cache memory, RAM and IO memory. So there is a north bridge and south bridge concept is there. Now people are current motherboards, north bridge and south bridge is not there, but become one single chip only. But we have a north bridge and south bridge generally. North bridge is to make a communication between CPU and RAM. So it controls the communication between CPU and RAM, or make a communication between CPU and RAM. South bridge is controls the communication between RAM and IO devices, other IO peripherals. Okay. So north bridge is near to RAM and CPU because it make a communication or controls the communication between CPU and RAM. South bridge is between RAM and other things to make a communication between other peripherals. Okay, guys, this is about your RAM. If in case you have a desktop or a laptop, system suddenly post error generated in your power on the system, hard disk LED is not blinking, or maybe nothing on your screen, it is a completely blank, you waited for some time, still may not working. Possible it is RAM related issues. Clean up the RAM, reinsert the RAM and verify. Remove all the power resources, including batteries and main power supply connection. Okay, guys, understand what is RAM? ROM is a very big one out of all components, guys, because ROM is a BIOS having BIOS settings and all. Understand about RAM.
Yes,
Last one it is okay. Okay.
yes,
Then
Yes,
sir.
sir.
we'll start with the ROM. ROM is an integrated circuit, something it is given. It store data permanently. It is a non-volatile memory type. Guys, originally, that's not a thing. Okay. ROM is simple chip. It contains information about your motherboard built-in components. Okay, built-in components. So whenever this for a ROM chip to store some instructions, I have to give that instruction to the manufacturer of ROM, and then the manufacturer put instruction into this ROM chip. I am a motherboard manufacturing person. I have instructions for a booting purpose, firmware instructions. I have to give it to the manufacturer of ROM chips, then they will insert it. We cannot erase it. We can't change it. We can read it, but we cannot able to write on it. That is ROM chip. So this has become challenge. So then it is people change programmable read-only memory. It means the manufacturer will give empty chip, so you can program as per your requirement. That is programmable read-only memory. Erasable programmable read-only memory. So we can erase the data in the these ROM chips possible. Then electrically erasable programmable memory is came into market. It is a rewritable type, means you can add a data, we can remove the data. We can add a data, we can remove the data. ROM chips are fixed. ROM has a program called BIOS firmware. ROM chip is a fixed chip. We cannot change. And this EPROM or a ROM contains a program called a BIOS in our system. What is the BIOS? Is nothing but a firmware or frameware kind of stuff. Okay. So what is this frameware duty in our system? Again, guys, ROM read-only memory. ROM is become EPROM. What we are using is EPROM. This EPROM contains information or a program called a BIOS. What is the BIOS is nothing but firmware or frameware kind of stuff. What is this BIOS will do? It helps to boot your system. It perform post operation. In the post operation, BIOS will do vital role in it. Power on self-test. Next, whenever you power on your system, this BIOS collect information about your system. Already it contains your motherboard information, on motherboard information. But to anything you connected to your motherboard, that information also it will collect. So it collect information of your CPU, RAM, your graphic card, or your hard disk, or CD-RAM information and store into the BIOS chip. Okay. So it recognize the hardware devices. So it collect the hardware devices information. It locates the operating system. BIOS setting also will tell you where is a operating system. Says you open a file manager in your computer, it will store in RAM. Yeah, it's a complete Google type answer, guys. So don't use so many things. Words. SSD is a storage, secondary storage. SSD is a secondary storage. RAM and ROM are a primary storage. RAM is different, ROM is different. SSD, hard disk are both are a regular data storage. To store your operating system, we can store in hard disk, you can store in SSD. Okay, but you cannot store in ROM. ROM contains a program called a BIOS or UEFI. It is nothing but a firmware. BIOS program is useful to boot your system. Okay, and also it recognize your hardware devices. And BIOS also will tell you where is an operating system and how to load operating system. To load operating system, BIOS is most helpful. It helps our operating system to access hardware devices. Okay, it helps your operating system to access hardware devices. Guys, these framewares are in generally earlier days we have a BIOS, now we have a UEFI, extensible firmware interface. BIOS, basic input output system that we used earlier. The new version of BIOS is UEFI, extensible firmware interface. There is a different manufacturers of BIOS is there. AMI BIOS, American Megatrend Inc. BIOS, Phoenix BIOS, Edward BIOS, kind of stuff. Not only that one, Dell BIOS, Lenovo BIOS, HP BIOS is also there in the market. Okay. We don't buy a BIOS, guys. It comes with your motherboard, on motherboard. Okay.
Okay, sir.
What is this firmware? It is a software that provide a basic machine instruction that allow hardware to function and communicate with the other software running on a device. Firmware provide low level control of devices hardware. So it is low level power. So we don't go to that function, guys. Simply understand what is a BIOS. BIOS is nothing but a firmware. When you power on your system, this performs post operation, power on self test operation to test system itself, make sure that all primary components are working or not. It locates and load. It recognizes your PC hardware, like what is your CPU inserted. We can change CPU, right? CPU, what CPU is inserted, what RAM is inserted, what hard disk is inserted, what CD-ROM is there. Okay, so what is the graphic card is inserted if in case it is there. So it is recognize the hardware devices. It helps to locate the operating system and load operating system. It helps the operating system to access hardware devices. Okay, that is a small thing about a BIOS. We can control our hardware and we can see few things from the hardware. Okay, so we want BIOS contains hardware information. We can check or change some hardware settings through BIOS settings. We can check the hardware settings. We can see the hardware information. We can change the hardware settings. Okay, to change the hardware settings, to go to this BIOS information. Okay, so how to go for that one? How to go to BIOS setting? You power on your system. Otherwise, you can try in a YouTube, guys. Try in a YouTube. That is how to go to BIOS settings in a Lenovo, Dell, or something like that. But in general, guys, when you power on your system, on your screen, either top or a bottom or a top right corner or a bottom left corner, something like that. It shows something like you press F2 to set up, F12 to boot, like that. The setup means it is BIOS settings. Okay, so BIOS settings by pressing BIOS key. You power on your system, press the BIOS key. Sometimes it won't show the BIOS key. Depends upon operating system and BIOS options. So what to do? Search in a Google somewhere based on your system model or motherboard model or BIOS model. Find out what is the BIOS key. Press the power button and press the BIOS key. Then it will take you BIOS settings. What we can able to go to, what we can able to do when you go to the BIOS setting. You can change date and time settings. You can set a password for your BIOS, not system password. It is related to your hardware only, not system. It is BIOS password. You can enable or disable some hardware features. Okay, you can enable virtualization technology in it, if in case if it is disabled. You can change some hardware features or hardware related settings. You can change the boot priorities, means when you press the power button, your BIOS will tell you where to locate operating system based on the priority list. So this BIOS is telling where, what is your boot priority, and also we can change by going to BIOS settings. We can save it and exit after you managing. You can get a BIOS system configuration. Your system configuration we have checked in the first day of our class last week. First day means on Monday we have discussed how to check the system configuration. But you can also get a system configuration from BIOS settings. So your CPU information, you can see CPU, it is i7-4500U model. It is 1.8 gigahertz processor. It is And in this one, there is a 4 MB cache memory and a 1 terabyte of hard disk, and there is a CD-RAM, and total memory is 8 GB and 1600 megahertz, means it's a DDR3 model RAM only. Okay, so you can see CPU, cache memory, hard disk, and CD-RAM, and this is total RAM. This is date and time, guys. You can check the date and time, and you can change it also. Always remember, guys, BIOS password is different from operating system password. Operating system password means when you try to log in, once you start your PC, you got a account, you give the password, so then you can access your laptop or desktop, right? That password is your voice level password, stores at voice level. BIOS password is to protect your BIOS settings from other unauthorized access. Okay. So this is for a system configuration and date and time. This is for a hardware related. So how to change from virtualization technology enabled. This is used to set a BIOS password, supervisory password, user password. And this is the boot priority, guys. When I power on my PC, first it will check in a CD-RAM. If CD-RAM contains any data or data related to operating system, any bootable device is inserted or not. Then it will check in a removable device like a pen drive kind of stuff. Okay. Next is hard drive, hard disk. It check in a hard disk. Is my hard disk contains operating system? Yes, then load it. No, then check in a network boot. Okay. So this is a main boot priority part, guys. So your BIOS is providing a boot priority order, so it will check up for operating system from top to bottom. So for example, you have connected a pen drive with an operating system and you automatically it will load operating system from your pen drive only, not from your hard disk because it's as per the boot priority level. So it will check one by one. Once it is find an operating system, it load from it. Okay, guys, I understand up to here what is the BIOS settings, how to go to BIOS setting.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Next one is
Yes, sir.
CMOS battery. What is this CMOS battery? People call CMOS battery CMOS battery. It is not actually CMOS battery, guys. It is lithium battery. It manufactured with a lithium compound. It is a lithium battery, 3 volts battery it is. Okay. So by habituated from so many years, people call it as a CMOS battery and it made up of CMOS technology. Now, guys, CMOS technology is a manufacturing your chips like your BIOS chip, ROM chip, RAM chip. Okay, your South Bridge, North Bridge, all these things are manufactured by CMOS technology only. Okay, so CMOS technology is not a battery technology. CMOS technology is chip manufacturing technology. So this battery is lithium battery, 3 volts battery. What is the use of this battery? So battery provide a continuous power supply to your BIOS because BIOS, even it is a non-volatile memory, means there is a permanent memory is there, but there is not permanent temporary memory that is also there. For example, the date and time has to run always, right? Date and time has to run. But you power on your system, how this date and time will run? Your BIOS chip will run this date and time. Once you fix the date and time, it will run the date and time as long as the power supply is there. BIOS passwords, BIOS settings are a BIOS related configurations. Okay, BIOS date and time, passwords, settings, configurations. These are all okay. These are all
Yes,
data
sir.
in your BIOS chip is temporarily. When you turn off the data, when you turn off your PC,
Hello, sir.
this data will be lost. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, it is also called CMOS cell.
No, 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 no. It's not a
Okay, okay.
CMOS cell. Okay, good. CMOS is a technology. CMOS means it's a semiconductor, complementary metal oxide semiconductor. And CMOS is not a one component. There is a NMOS, metal oxide semiconductor field effective transistor. NMOSFET, CMOSFET, PMOSFET. Only two. But where is CMOS came from? It's a combination of NMOS and PMOS called as CMOS. Okay. So the battery is not a CMOS cell, it is. They call it as a CMOS battery. CMOS actually is a chip manufacturing technology. Okay. In this, our BIOS
Okay,
chip,
sir.
we have a data which is temporary. Means when you power on your system, the date and time is resetted to the factory default. The settings will go to factory default. Passwords will be gone from your BIOS chip. So it need some continuous power supply. Even you shut down your PC, but BIOS chip need a continuous power supply. So then what we are using, we use this lithium battery which connected to your BIOS. So the CMOS is technology is a chip manufacturing technology also used to manufacture this BIOS. So lithium battery, this type of lithium battery supports your CMOS chips. That's why it is become a CMOS battery. It become a habituated from that. Okay, it's become a habituated from earlier to now. Okay, so next one, guys. CMOS checksum error. CMOS checksum. In CPU, I said continuous restarts because of CPU is getting overheated, kind of stuff. In a RAM, I told about a BIOS post failure kind of stuff. You power on your system, it's a post failure. So it is because of your possibility there is a RAM utility. In CMOS, you got a CMOS checksum error. CMOS checksum error shows on your screen because of yes, your someone removed the battery and reinsert the battery. Means under your CMOS, whatever the information is there, that is gone. It went to the factory default. So there is a differences occur between your actual operating system to the your CMOS settings. So then it will throw CMOS checksum error or a CMOS checksum bad kind of stuff. So then we have to go to the BIOS settings. You have to change all the settings again. Okay. Guys, when you got a CMOS checksum bad or a CMOS checksum error, CMOS checksum error. Okay. If you are getting this error, like today I got this error, I went to the BIOS setting, I change all the settings, and I will continue my work. So night work is completed. I shut down my PC. I went to home and come back in morning. I got this error again. So every day after shutdown, I am getting this kind of error. CMOS section. What is that meaning is CMOS battery is become less power or no power in it. Batteries after 5 years or 6 years, the battery become weaker, right? 3 to 5 years, battery become weaker. So if batteries become weak, so then what to do? To change the battery. Change the battery. Okay. This CMOS checksum error or CMOS checksum bad, not always same solution, but this is the one kind of issue. Okay, so you purchase a laptop or not laptop, desktops. Usually after 3 years, you are getting 3 to 4 years, you are getting the CMOS checksum error. Mostly it is CMOS battery. They call it as a CMOS battery, but battery is not manufactured by CMOS technology. It is manufactured by lithium technology. Okay, guys.
Sir, what type of question will be raised in interview from this topic?
Yeah, first one is difference between different components, CPU and CPU and RAM differences, RAM and ROM differences, about what is BIOS. Okay, boot processing I will tell after that. Okay, tomorrow I think I will tell boot processing. Okay, so today this only not every pinpoint advice, but you should have overall knowledge. How to go to BIOS settings. This is also important. Okay. Okay, so then we will discuss about motherboards and SMPS today. That's it. So tomorrow I will start from the storages, SSDs and hard disk differences, RAM, ROM and difference I already told. So SSD and hard disk differences and storage related tomorrow I will try to cover. Okay. And if possible, I will try to cover the boot processing also tomorrow. So now guys, take a just 5 minutes break. Okay, just a 5 minutes break is enough. Relax. I already shared this link in this here. Yeah, I think after the sharing of link, okay.
No, you'll come late. Okay, sure. Okay. This will be okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sharing it again. Okay. So that's a good one.
Yeah.
So 12:45.